Hello everybody and welcome to the Zoom information session. I am your presenter Kim Murphy and I am going to talk you through using Zoom. So we're going to have a look at how to start from scratch. So I'm assuming that people who are going to watch this video has never used Zoom before and has never installed it before. So I'm going to walk you through setting it up onto your laptop, your PC or your device. We're going to have a look at scheduling, we're going to have a look at running meetings and all the functions and features that comes with Zoom. So this is basically what we're going to cover. So we're going to cover getting started with Zoom, hosting meetings, scheduling Zoom meetings, and then we're going to look at some of the meeting options. So we're going to look at using the chat, sharing a screen during a meeting, sharing an iPhone or iPad during a meeting, using the whiteboard, recording your meetings, changing your virtual backgrounds, and then creating the breakout room. So at the end of all of that, you will have covered everything that's required to run a very successful meeting. Now, the version of Zoom that I use for this demo to cover everything which I've shown you there a second ago is actually the basic version. And the basic version is the free version. And I think it's important just to show you what the free version can do, okay? There is subscription versions which you must pay per month, and I think the cheapest one is $13.99 a month. And really the only extra functionality that you have is that it allows you to have meetings for as long as you want. With the free version, you're limited to 40 minutes. And also with the paid version, you can do things like run polls. If you wanted to have polls about different things, you want to survey people, you can set them up in your meetings. And also in the paid version, you can run very sophisticated reports. In the free version, you can't, okay? But everything else that I'm going to show you today, sharing to the devices, the iPhones, the iPads, the breakout rooms, all that stuff will run on the free version. So as I said, it's limited to 40 minutes on the free version. But at the moment, if you have a school, if you work in a school or an educational sector and you have an education or a school email address, if you use that to register with Zoom, they lifted the restriction of the 40 minutes, which means that your meetings can last 24 hours if you wanted to, okay? And that's just during the COVID-19. After the COVID-19 is gone, I would imagine the restriction will be lifted and it will put you back to 40 minutes, okay? So that's pretty good. You can also have meetings with up to 100 participants. Absolutely no problem at all. If you need to have meetings of more than 100 participants, well, then you'll have to look at the paid subscription versions, okay? Other features about the free version is the quality is HD video. You also have the active speaker view. We have a full screen view where you're going to see all the people who are attending. It'll show you up to 49 pictures on a laptop, which is fantastic. You can share screens simultaneously. We can set up waiting rooms. You are given a personal room, which is your virtual room with your own personal ID, which you can use at any point to create instant meetings. And the other thing which I think is great about Zoom is it's so versatile. So as you heard me saying there earlier on, we can install it on the laptop or the PC, and we can also install it on our tablet or our phone, which means we can access it on the move as well, which I think is really, really good. So just to give you an idea of the costs, I always just put this screen up. It's just to show you if you did want to go and use Zoom as a subscription, you'll see how much it costs. So the cheapest version is $13.99 a month. And as I mentioned to you earlier on, it's really if you need more than 100 participants to join, and you also want to have unlimited meetings, and you want the reporting. Okay, that's the big difference. And then as you'll see, as they go up in price, it's basically giving you more participants and so on. So if you're interested in that, you will see all that on the Zoom website, okay? So now we're going to get started. We're going to have a look at installing Zoom. And in this particular demonstration, I'm going to install Zoom on a PC or a laptop, okay? And if you're going to install it on your device, it is probably a lot easier. If it's an iPhone or an iPad, you will go into your app store, you will type in Zoom, and within a minute or two, you press install on the actual icon for Zoom, and it will install it for you within seconds. So it's pretty quick. The same with the Android. You'll go into your Android, into your App Store or your Google Store, and you'll type in again Zoom, and you press get, and it'll install it onto that device as well. So installing it onto the PC or the laptop is a little bit longer, and that's why I'm going to give you the little screenshots here that should help you if you're going to do this yourself. My advice to you would be to definitely install it on a laptop or a PC, as well as if you're going to use it on your tablet or your phone. The reason being is when it's on your PC, you have a bit more functionality with it than you do on your tablet or your phone, okay? So the first thing we need to do is we need to open up our browser, and the browser, depending on which one you use, it could be Internet Explorer, it could be Chrome, whatever your browser is, open it up, and once it's open up, put in your www.zoom.com. Once you do that, it will load up your Zoom for you, okay? The website will appear in front of you, and have a look at the screen there, and you will see over on the right-hand side, there's a button there in orange that says sign up for free. So you simply click on that, and once you do that, it brings you down to this little screen here, where it asks you, it needs you to verify your date of birth. So you'll have to pick your date of birth, put it in there, and then just press the continue button, and it brings you to the next screen. Now, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, if you've got your educational email address, you can put it in there, and that will give you the unlimited time when you sign up to Zoom. If you haven't, you can either use your own work email or your personal email, whatever email address that you're going to use, you put it in there. Now, what I must say to you at this point as well is you need to make sure that whatever email address that you're going to use is an active one that you can actively check now in a few minutes, because once we put that email address in there and we press sign up, what happens is Zoom sends an email to that email address, and we need to go into the email and activate it so to let Zoom to allow us to continue with the install, okay? So we're ready now. So we press the button for sign up, and it brings us to the next screen, but it's telling us that it's going to install, and do we confirm, and we say yes. Now at this point, you'll see it now pops up and it says to me, I have sent an email to your email address, which is fine. So what's going to happen now in a second is I need to open up my email, and once I open up my email, I can activate the activate button that they have sent, okay? If I went in and the email wasn't there for whatever reason, well, the first thing I would always say to you guys is to check your junk folder, because sometimes the emails pop into the junk folder. But if you've done that and you still can't see it, come back down here to where it says resend another. And if you press that button, it will send you another email. If that's okay, then pop back into your email. And then, as I said, within a few minutes, you should see this email, and you've got this big blue button in here that says activate account. Okay, so I've opened it up, and I'm going to press activate account. And once I do that, it brings me back to my install screen, and it now asks me, am I signing up on behalf of the school? I have the option of yes, no. So for this particular demonstration, I'm going to say yes. If I was to say no, it would basically skip the next one or two screens and bring me straight to putting in my name, my first name, my surname, and a password. Okay, so you'll see that in a couple of minutes. But for the demo, as I said, we're going to say yes, that we are a school. So just that everybody can see what exactly it asks. Okay, so I'm going to say yes. I'm going to press continue. And then on this screen here is where I fill in the details from the school. So I put my first name, last name, job title, school name, and then you can see down here, again, the school email address. So you pop that in there. Then you press your agree to your consent and so on down here. And when you're happy with them, you press continue, and it brings you to the next screen, okay? And in this screen is where you need to put in your first name, last name, and a password, okay? Now, as I said a minute ago, if you had said no, that you weren't to school, it would have just brought you to this screen here, okay? So make sure, first name, last name, stick in a password that you're going to remember. You put it in twice just to be sure, and then you press continue, and it brings you to the next screen. Now, at this point, Zoom is trying to get more people to sign up. So it's saying to you here, have you got any colleagues who you might like to invite to join Zoom? If you did, you'd fill in all this information here and you would click invite. I have to be honest, most people will just ignore all that and click on the button that says skip this step. So we'll press that, and it brings us to the next screen. Now on the next screen, it asks us, do we want to test to see does the meeting work? Is it set up? Is it ready to go? Now at this point I wouldn't, because we've a little bit more to do. If you think about it, we haven't actually installed the program onto the PC yet, okay? Because it hasn't asked us to do that yet. So at this point, I would just ignore that, and I would say go to my account, and it will bring me to the next screen. Now on this screen is where it's now going to download the program onto your computer, and ask you, do you want to go and run and install it, okay? So what it basically does is, after a couple of minutes, you get this little box down the bottom of your screen. Depending again, if you're using Internet Explorer or Chrome or whatever your browser is, it may be a little bit different. Mine is Internet Explorer and it's popped up down here. Sometimes if it's not along the bottom here, it could be over on the left-hand side, okay? So you should see the file that it's downloading, and somewhere on your screen it will pop up and say, do you want to run, or do you want to save it, or do you want to cancel it, okay? So if you're sitting here for a couple of minutes and it doesn't seem to be doing anything and you can't see that particular message, well then come back up to the top to where it says download here and simply press that. And once you press that, it will appear down the bottom as I mentioned, okay? So we'll say that it has appeared and it's in front of you like mine is here. So at this point, we're going to press the run. We want it to install. So you press the run button, and once you do that, it goes off in the background and it installs the program onto your computer or your laptop, okay? And once it does that, it finishes off and it'll basically bring you back to your screen where now you have your Zoom installed, okay? So if you have a look at your desktop now, you should see a little icon there, a little blue icon with a little picture of a video and the word Zoom written underneath it, and that means your Microsoft or your Zoom is installed on your PC, okay? So at this point, all you need to do now to install it is, or to open it, is to just double click on it, and once you do that, your Zoom will load, okay? So I'm going to leave this section at that now, and hopefully you found that useful, and I hope now you'll be able to install your Zoom on your laptop or your PC, and I'll see you at the next session. Thank you very much now. Bye.